As most of you guys know, I'm a pretty big fan of video games, but I'm also really into horror movies. And when there's a convergence of those two interests, I question my ability to fairly critique the experience. That's why today I'm looking at a game that I really enjoy, but I know is by no means a masterpiece. Halloween on the Atari 2600.
Remember all those great games we used to play growing up in the 80s and 90s? Most of them are sitting in an attic or garage somewhere doing nothing but gathering dust. My opinion is, we should give them another look.
I'm a big fan of the Halloween series, although I'll admit I'm more of a Freddy or Jason guy. But there is no denying that Halloween is one of the most influential and important slasher horror movies of all time.
Halloween hit theaters on October 25th, 1978, 2 years to the day before I was born, grossing more than $70 million on a $300,000 budget, and single-handedly starting the horror movie revolution that dominated cinemas and movie stores for the majority of the 1980s. It was directed by John Carpenter, who went on to become one of the most influential directors in Hollywood, who also composed the iconic score to the film. The movie tells the tale of Michael Myers, who we first meet at the age of 6. Michael seems to be an average child from a middle-class family who, for no apparent reason, snaps and kills his sister. The film picks up 15 years later with Michael escaping the Spring Grove sanatorium he was being held in and heading back to Haddonfield to continue his killing ways. His psychiatrist, Dr. Sam Loomis, played by the masterful Donald Pleasance, follows him knowing what he truly is, the embodiment of pure evil. Michael follows a young babysitter by the name of Laurie Strode, played by the debuting Jamie Lee Curtis, to the Doyle home, where she will be babysitting on All Hallows Eve. Michael then kills all of Laurie's friends at a nearby house before confronting her himself in an epic showdown that sees Laurie get the kids to safety before Dr. Loomis shoots and seemingly kills Michael, only to look out the window and notice that the body is no longer there, and the film fades to the credits with Michael's ragged breathing.
Wow, what an epic tale, and I can't wait to see it portrayed exactly in video game form. Well, the Atari 2600 wasn't quite capable of that, but it did try to convey it as well as possible under the circumstances.
Halloween on the Atari 2600 was published by Wizard Video and released in 1983. The game starts with the iconic theme in all its Atari 2600 glory. Actually, it's a pretty good version of it. You take control of Laurie Strode. No, wait, according to the manual, it's the babysitter character. That's weird. I don't know why they wouldn't have you play as Laurie Strode, but okay. Your goal is to rescue the children, again, not Tommy Doyle, but random children, by navigating them to safe areas in the home while avoiding the killer. Not Michael Myers, but the killer.
Okay, stop for a second. What's going on here? You go through all the trouble to secure the licensing rights for the Halloween movie franchise. You even use the iconic theme by John Carpenter. But then you don't use the characters? I mean, like, I can understand not using Laurie Strode and using babysitter and then kids, but to not use Michael Myers? I mean, that's like having a Friday the 13th game with Hockey Mask Killer. Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Realistically, this is only the manual, and it's probably a case of the author not really knowing the source material. Realistically, it doesn't factor into the game in any way, so I guess we'll just move along.
So forgetting all that, you play as a babysitter character who we are assuming is Laurie Strode, and she is trapped in a house with the killer, who we are assuming is Michael Myers. Laurie goes from screen to screen, which are rooms in the house, avoiding the killer, who comes at you with a...
I think it's supposed to be a knife. Honestly, it kind of looks like a big floppy dildo, but let's suspend disbelief, and yeah, it's a knife.
Laurie has to explore the house looking for children. When she finds a child, she can direct it to follow her by pressing the action button. Your character can move up and down to avoid the killer, but the child character will remain on the bottom of the screen. Unfortunately, when Michael Myers comes on screen, he is like a heat-seeking missile for the child, and if he is directly in front of you in your path, there is no way to stop him unless you go backwards to the last screen. If Michael catches you, he will lop your head off. Man, that's brutal. And people complained about decapitation in Mortal Kombat a decade later. If he catches the child, he kills him.
Wow. Okay, wow. I can't believe they just showed a child getting killed in a video game. I mean, wow. Like, it's alluded to in the Friday the 13th game, but you don't see it. I mean, wow.
When it's just Laurie herself, Michael can be easily avoided as he moves slower than Laurie, and you can move up and down on the screen to get out of his path. The only area where this is tricky is in the rooms with the flickering lights, which make it harder to detect Michael's whereabouts. There is also a knife hidden throughout the house, and when it is in your possession, you can stab Michael and remove him from the screen. But just like the movies, you can't kill the boogeyman, and he will be waiting for you on the next screen. The objective is to guide the children to one of the game's safe zones, and once there, you press the action button again to release the child and you score points. That's right, points. Like all games from this time period, there is no definitive end, just more points. After you safely drop off one kid, you go back through the house looking for another. After you rescue 5 children, the difficulty increases, but so do the points you get for either stabbing Michael or rescuing a child. You can keep going until you have spent all 3 of your provided lives, or until you lose interest and turn the game off.
And that, in a nutshell, is Halloween on the Atari 2600. While it might not be a gaming masterpiece, it does correctly tie elements of the movie with the fun pick-up-and-play mechanics that the Atari 2600 is synonymous for. If you're a horror fan, or if you like quick, fun pick-up-and-play games, Halloween comes highly recommended from me.